I got rid of all of the sales calls in my diary and replaced them with a simple Loom video. And in this video, I'm going to share with you why I did that and the exact Loom script I use to bring people into my program, Amplify. I got to the point in my business where I used to wake up on a Monday morning, see sales calls in my calendar, and just dread them. And I didn't actually mind them so much when I was on the call themselves, but it was just the energy of not wanting to be tied to calls. I'm a big introvert. I have very variable energy levels, and I just wanted an open space calendar. The problem is, I've only ever used sales calls into my programs and services, and it felt like such a risky cog to change. At this point, my business model is just one group program, hybrid group and one-on-one, called Amplify, where I help my clients create a group program that becomes the backbone of their business. Now, the whole model relies on me enrolling 3 to 5 clients every single month consistently. And for the last 5 years that I've run this program as the core of my business, I have used sales calls. And my sales call strategy had evolved as well. I used to just run 60-minute sales calls. Then I worked with a coach who shared this 15-minute to 45-minute call structure. And I loved this because the joy of 15-minute calls is it's just a tiny amount of time. You can jump on a call with people, qualify that they're actually a good fit for your program, and then only book those that are a good fit into the longer call. I'll share the process of that one in another video. And I'd used this strategy for a very, very long time, and it worked really well for me. I found that it felt quite low risk for people to book that 15-minute call. I was speaking to a lot of my audience. That really allowed me to refine who my program was and wasn't for. And I had a really good conversion rate of people I spoke to, brought to the 45-minute call and enrolled. So when I was confronted with the idea of changing this process to have this more spacious calendar and just not be on calls all the time, I was absolutely terrified, because what if I got it wrong? And what if the process didn't work? And then what if I fucked my entire business and I couldn't enroll people into my program anymore? Thankfully, that isn't what happened. But I guess what reassured me in changing the process is I thought, firstly, I can't be scared to test new things just because something has worked well. Like, things run to the end of their life and need to be reinvented. Secondly, I thought, well, if it doesn't work, I will just go back to calls, and that is absolutely fine. So what I moved to is a simple application form and a Loom video back. So if you go to my website, gemmagilbert.com, and go to the Work With Me page, there is a full sales page of my program, and then there's an application. And the application requires leads, prospects, always want a more heartfelt word for that, to tell me quite a lot about their business. And the whole point is to raise the bar, to say, if you're going to fill this out, you're going to be serious. Now, that can feel scary because you get fewer leads, but they are far more highly qualified, and they are a much higher quality than sometimes the number of 15-minute calls I would get in my diary, because the bar was quite low for people to book that. And I have refined the actual application form over and over again, because I was realizing from the clients that came in that some of them hadn't really thought about how they were going to prioritize the time or things like that. And so you can go back retrospectively and think, okay, I need to challenge people on each of these questions to ensure that the people coming into my program are going to get results, are going to put in the work, and have the right mindset and business readiness to work with me. So one step of the process to get right was the actual questions, and I've been improving that to the point now, even at the top, it's like, please tick this box to tell me you have actually read the sales page, the investment, and the structure, because I was having some people fill out this application form that hadn't even bothered to read the page. So now I get them to tell me, what do you like about the program? What do you resonate with my philosophy? So it requires them to do quite a high level of work before applying, which again feels vulnerable. However, it's working. So the first stage is they fill out the application form. The second stage is I then record a simple video back. And all I do is I have their application form in front of me and I hit record. So my little face is in the corner and I talk through their application. And I'm going to share with you these 7 steps I go for on my script to just speak to people in a really human way and bring them into my program if they are a good fit. So, step 1 is opening with personal connection. So, I will always reference something they've said. If it's a referral, I will reference the person that referred me. If they have a really interesting niche or a nice name or anything that stands out to me, I will say, oh, blah, 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 blah. And this is just about establishing rapport and being a nice human person at the beginning of a video. Number 2, I validate their desire for the transformation I help people with, which is to grow their group program. People have lots of different reasons for wanting to grow a group, and often they will say things that very much align with me, like I'm really drawn to one model, or I really don't like launching. And so I'll just reference that and say, you know, I am what you're describing, not liking seeing lots of one-on-one calls in the diary. This was exactly the reason I wanted to move to a group model. So I validate the desire. Number 3, I do a readiness reflection. So I go through on their application the strengths I see and the areas for development, and I just list them out, and I add a little bit of context and narrative around it. Number 4, I talk about how my program would support them. So if I think my program is a good fit, I will tell them that explicitly, and I'll say, I think you'd be a great fit for my program Amplify. Let me tell you about how we would work together on this. And I go through the core buckets that we would work on together. Number 5, I address any hesitations they have directly. So if they say my audience is too small, or I'm not ready yet, or I'm worried about the investment, I just chat it through. And I chat through my experience and how other clients have thought about this and whether I think they're ready. And I just deal with it in a very human way. Number 6, I explain what happens if they join. So in sales, people want to know the next step. So if they say yes, what happens next? So I explain, we're going to have a kickoff call, then I'm going to get you onboarded. You're going to fill out a contract and an invoice and an intake form. Then you're going to come to the kickoff call, and that becomes your first start date in Amplify. So they are really clear on the journey. Number 7, I close the video gently. And in this, I just check in with them where they're at. It's not a hard sell. It's just like, so you've even listened to this and you think, I'm raring to go, sign me up, or you've got some questions, or you don't think this is for you. And I pass the metaphorical baton back to them, and I ask them to get back to me and let me know which. The amazing thing about this structure for me is, 1, I've been refining it over time. 2, my sales into my group program have not wavered at all from when I ran my sales call process. But my time spent on doing these videos is a fraction of what I used to spend on calls. Now, I still very much believe that you should start selling your program via sales calls. You should learn who the right person is, how to talk about your program, how to discuss hesitations that people have, and you can't shortcut that. That's why I believe you should start with sales calls. But at the point where you know you've nailed that, I did sales calls for 5 years into my program and I was ready for a different model. This application, Loom Video, invitation to take action, is so spacious, feels so human, and I genuinely enjoy creating those videos. If you found that useful, let me know in the comments.